Good day, everyone, especially to you, Ma'am. Ma'am Parungaw, good day. I am Annalyn E. Aligsaw, BE Scream Section B. Today, I am going to tackle the Chapter 3, the Probation Law of the Philippines. So first, Presidential Decree Number 968, Probation Law of the Philippines. This law was declared on July 24, 1976. This law was utilized to adult convict and first-time minor drug offenders by the virtue of RE 9165 Section 70. The law is known as the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. And then next, probation. What is probation? So probation is a mere privilege granted by the court to a person convicted of a criminal offense to remain in the community instead of going to a prison. So, probation is also a disposition under which a defendant after conviction and sentence is released subject to conditions imposed by the court and to supervision of a probation officer. So this is the time that probation is really a privilege because the offenders, the convicted offenders has the chance to be with their family and they can still support their family by staying in the community. They don't need to go to the prison. But then question, how many times can be a person be granted a probation? So the answer is only once. Hindi naman po pwede na paulit-ulit tayo bigyan ng probation. Isang beses lang po tayo pwedeng bigyan ng probation. And then there are rules on grant of probation also. And then what are the purposes of the Philippine probation law? So its purpose is to promote the correction and rehabilitation by providing the offender with individualized treatment. So they help the offender by rehabilitating and treatment. And then second, provide an opportunity for the reformation of an offender which might be least probable if he were to serve a prison sentence. Ito po ay nagbibigay ng tsansa para ang offender ay magbago. And then, prevent the commission of offenses. Section 2, PD 968. So, what are the advantages of probation? There are 9 advantages. So, first, it prevents crime by giving freedom and rehabilitation only to those convicts who are not likely to recommit violation of penal laws. So, as what I've said earlier, they help the offenders to rehabilitate, and then they can recommit violation of penal laws. And then the second one, it protects the society by placing the probationer under supervision of probation officer. So ito mapoprotektahan nito ang society sa pamamagitan ng ang isang probationer ay mayroong probation officer na nag-guide sa kanya. Number 3, it conforms of the concept of restorative justice. Number 4, it gives another chance in life and provide opportunity to be rehabilitated to the penitent convict. So, ito nga, bibigyan nila ng tsansa ang isang probationer para magbago. And then, it prevents first-time convict to become hardened criminal. Yung mga first-time offender ay maaaring sila ay magbago at hindi maprotektahan sila para hindi maging isang hardened criminal rather. The number 6, more economical or less costly on the part of the government. Number 7, provides solution of overcrowded jail and prison facilities. So, ito na nga, ito ay isang advantage din na ang prison ay hindi crowded dahil yung mga first time offender at saka yung ay hindi sila mapupunta sa prison, kaya may tendency hindi overcrowded yung prison. And then number 8, it restores successful probationer his civil rights. Number 9, last, it makes the probationer a taxpayer instead of a tax-eater. And then next is statutory attributes of the Philippine probation system. The probation system established in the Philippines has at least 3 important characteristics that make it different from other probation system of other jurisdictions. So, it has 3 important characteristics. And first, it is a once in a lifetime affair, meaning that a convicted person can only avail the privilege of a probation once in his lifetime. If he is convicted again, such person can no longer avail himself of another probation. However, in Western countries, a person can avail a probation as many times as he is convicted of violating penal laws. So, this is what I said earlier, that a convicted person can only once avail the privilege of probation once in his lifetime. Then, if he will be convicted again, then he will not be able to get or avail the privilege of probation. And then, meanwhile, in the other Western countries, if a person can avail a probation, then if again he will become convicted again, then he can avail then he will still has the chance to avail the probation as many times as he is convicted of violating penal law. So here in Philippines, we can only once avail the probation. And then second, selective application. Probation is made available only to those convicted of certain crimes. Crimes against national security like treason and espionage are excluded. Those who are sentenced to prison terms of more than 6 years are also excluded from the probation privilege. So here the um uh, only selective application can avail the probation. Those convicted of certain crimes only, and then the first time offender. But then the sentence convict who is sentenced to a prison for more than 6 years cannot avail the probation. Third, persons under probation retain their civil rights, like the right to vote or practice one's profession or exercise parental or marital authority. In most Western countries, in order that a person who had undergone probation may be restored his civil rights, he must initiate separate court proceedings. It is relevant to notice that Presidential Decree number 968 is a legal framework which will serve as basis for the implementation of probation system in the country. So here, the probationer has the right to vote and practice one's profession or exercise their parental or marital authority. And then the fourth, the suspension of execution of sentence is conditional. Violations of any of the condition may cause revocation of the privilege. Number 5, conditions of probation to be imposed by the court to protect public safety and to foster the rehabilitation and reformation of the probationer. So here, as what I've said earlier, that probation will help the convict, the first-time offender, to rehabilitate, to avoid becoming hardened criminals, and then to reformation, to change. They will help the probationer to change. And then number 6, jurisdiction of the court is continuing in character. Number 7, post-sentence investigation report is mandatory, which will serve as informational guide for the court's decision in granting or denying the same. Number 8, supervision, guidance, and assistance by the court that heard assistance by the probation officer over the probationer. So here the probationer has one probation officer, and that probation officer will guide and supervise the probationer and will assist the probationer also. So the next one, the obligations of a probationer. There are 3 obligations of probationer. The first one, the probationer must present himself to the probation officer within 72 hours from receipt of probation order. So, the probationer must present himself or report to the probationer officer because it is an order. And then, the second one, report himself to the probationer officer at least once a month during the period of probation. So during the period of probation, the probationer must report to the probation officer at least once a month And then, number 3, not to violate the conditions of his probation. So, this, the probationer must not violate the conditions of probation, because if he will going to violate the probation, then he will has the, maybe he has the chance to he might be not be able to continue the privilege that is given to him or her. Next, terms and conditions of probation. So, two kinds of condition in probation. 1, mandatory. 2, discretionary. So, mandatory or general conditions: to present himself to the probation office for supervision within 72 hours from receipt to the probation order. So here, the probationer must present himself to the probation officer to be supervised within 72 hours. The probationer must present himself to the probation officer to be supervised by the probation officer. And then second, to report the assigned probation officer at least once a month during the period of probation, at such time and place as may be specified by the probation officer. And that's all, and thank you.